Welcome to the second episode of Hello, Doña County. My name is Anita Skipper, and I am your host. We are delighted to have joining us today Miss Alicia Morales, who is with Doña County. She particularly will be talking to us today about the county's emergency rental assistance program. Help me welcome Miss Morales to the show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. So we really thought this was a good idea because we want the community to see behind the curtain, so to speak, of what's going on with the emergency rental assistance program.
Okay.
And I was told you are the person that I needed to speak with if we had any questions, who could explain things simply, but you had a lot of experience working with the program and also the applicants who come in. So if you don't mind, we're just going to have a conversation today about that program. How about you start just introducing yourself to our county, to everyone listening to the program?
Hi, I'm Alicia Morales. I've been with I started with the CARES Act, and then I moved over to the emergency rental once it started. I've been with it since day one. It's been a lot of work. We're trying to help a lot of people in the community. Right now, on Friday, I brought my little list. We've actually reviewed 422 full applications, and we've given out about $2.8 million as of last Friday.
Very good. Okay, so one thing I'm big on is I think we've done quite a few press releases and we send out things, we post on social media, but sometimes people don't necessarily understand what that is. So we're going to simplify things, right? So when you say CARES Act, there are a lot of people who are not familiar with what that is. So allow me just to talk about it. So when you think about CARES Act in a simple form, the federal government has a whole program of supporting communities, especially during the COVID process. And so people have received stipends and different amounts of money to assist because things have been challenging. So part of the emergency rental assistance program is from the CARES Act. So when you all hear us refer to that, I just don't want to use acronyms and people are like, what's that? Well, all of it is the CARES Act. It's the idea that we are giving money to assist the community in whatever way to recover after COVID has really set a lot of us back. So this emergency rental assistance program, did other counties receive funding?
So Bernalillo County did, and then the state also provided it. So anybody that's not in Doña County or Bernalillo County can also apply at the state level, and they can assist anybody that's not in our county.
Okay.
So New Mexico as a whole has gotten funding for renters, and that's the key point. It's sadly one of the qualifications for this grant would have to be that you are a renter. Even if you are just wanting utility assistance, we would still need that lease agreement.
Okay. So that's good to know. I mean, that's a good distinction you just made. So Doña County received money. The city of Las Cruces did not receive money. But that includes you if you're in Las Cruces because you're in Doña County. But if there are people who live in outlying areas, unincorporated areas outside of the county, you're still eligible for assistance. You would just apply from the state's pool of money instead of Doña County's,
Yes.
right? Because Doña County is responsible for
Doña County.
making sure that it's only Doña County residents. Okay,
Yes.
Did everybody get that? That's great because what it says is no one really has to be left out.
Yes.
Even if you think, oh, I'm not quite in Doña County, there are still resources available for you. Okay, good to know. Now you mentioned that about utilities. So let me make sure I'm clear on that. I could be updated on my rent, but I'm delinquent on my utilities. So I still need to bring you a copy of my lease showing that I rent, and then I'm eligible for utilities.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And but if you are current with your rent, and you qualify for this program, we are able to pay 3 months forward on your rent if the landlord's willing to participate with the program, and you meet all the qualifications. So if you would be getting utilities, you might as well get the 3 months of extra rent if you qualify, because then you'd be able to save money. That's why we do the 3 months forward, so that you are able to collect funds and save up. So once these programs end, that you are able to, pay your bills and get everything, have extra money for food or anything else that you need that we're unable to pay for you.
That's amazing. I don't think that I've had anyone point that out. So even if you're not delinquent
In rent, yes.
in rent, if you're renting and you're delinquent in utility bills, they will still pay your rent.
Yes, and you don't have to be delinquent in your utility bills. You could just, if you meet the qualifications, say you've been barely making it, like pushing your pennies together, maybe not eating as much or buying as much groceries as you need or different things, everyone scrimps in different ways, then we are able to do that, even though you're current on everything. We aren't able to pay the utility bills, but we are able to pay the rent.
That's incredible.
So
I'm liking this more and more. So let's talk about the individuals who are eligible, right? And I know it's available on the website at donianacounty.org,
yes.
but just for the person who won't go to the website and they're only going to watch a snippet of this video, what would you say are the basic qualifications for applying?
So you have to be in the 80 percentile of your household income. So we do have the spreadsheet that shows if you would qualify, so you don't even have to go to the application. It gives it right at the beginning. So if you're unsure about if you would make the qualifications, most people are eligible for it with the income level that we are at right now. And then you would need to be financially impacted by COVID. So that means like their hours were reduced, their job was shut down due to the governor's mandates during COVID-19. If they have their unemployment monetary determination letter from that time that tells them that they're on the COVID pandemic unemployment, that's also a letter they can turn in. If they're babysitting to supplement their income, if they were doing yard work, anything that might have been taken away from you or not made you eligible to make as much money as you were doing before COVID, we would need just a statement from your employer or the people that you were helping clean yards or babysitting that lets us know that, we were laid off of work, so we didn't need a babysitter at the time. So, we had to let go of Miss Julia because of COVID-19. And then they just sign it, date it, just simple things like that, that shows us how we can prove to the U.S. Treasury that you were making about $800 and now you're only making $600 is one of the main qualifications. And then after that, we just need the full lease agreement. And then obviously if you have utilities past due, and then we would need any IDs for anyone in the household over 18.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So you said proof that I was impacted by COVID. I could even be on unemployment and verify that. Also, a copy of my lease showing that I am a renter.
Yes,
because
and the
this is
full
only
lease.
the full lease, not just the first page with my name on it.
Yes.
But you need the full lease identifying all terms. And any delinquent any bills showing that I'm delinquent, and then ID for everyone over 18 in the house.
Yes, and the income for anyone.
And
over
the income. Okay. Now, how comfortable, or should I be comfortable with the idea? Is my information confidential? Is it private?
Yes,
Will you be using this against me if I receive some other benefits? Does this impact that?
No, so we do not give any information to like SNAP or to housing or to any other government agency that you might have needed to hit the income threshold to, or, a lot of people are concerned that their housing would be impacted because they're getting other benefits, but it does not impact that at all. So,
Okay.
this is a grant, it's just extra money, it's not going to be reported on your income or anything.
Really? So I won't have to pay taxes on this later?
No, so the only people, like we just send the 1099 to the landlord and obviously to the utilities that we give the funds to.
Okay.
You guys don't get any.
So I'm curious, you mentioned the landlord. So let's say I'm not the renter, I'm the landlord, and I know I have some renters who are past due, and we've been through this period where there was a moratorium on evicting anyone who is delinquent. Is there anything I can do as a landlord to get some assistance?
We've had some great landlords that have assisted their tenants into getting all the documents in, because you have to work, for this grant, you have to work as a team, as the landlord and the tenant, because the tenant needs the landlord and the landlord needs the tenant. So we have to qualify first the tenant and show that they meet all the qualifications, and then we send an invitation to our landlords telling them to finish their application. Once they finish one application, the landlord doesn't have to submit anything unless we need another ledger or something for another tenant. But once they apply once, even if they have 100 tenants, we can attach each tenant to that one application. And they are able to see on their profile on the Neighborly software where they do the application, they are able to see their tenants, see if they're in pending payment, pending information, and they can see if we have already sent payment and how much money they were getting sent to them.
Okay, so it actually benefits the landlord to, if their tenant is not taking certain actions, maybe bring it to their attention, right?
Yes.
Because they can benefit as well. That's good to know.
And it is one lump sum, so they do get, if they're past due, it's 15 months max on rent assistance. So say they were behind 3 months, and then we get to pay them 3 months forward, so you get a total of 6 months all at once.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So then so then they're able to, you get to kind of, get some income into your pocket that you've been missing, and they also get to have a little relief in their hands.
Very good. So is there anything that you would say has been a big deterrent for people coming to even apply? Do you think there are any myths floating out there that make people think, oh, no, I'm not going to go and apply?
I think a lot of people think it's harder than it is, but if they click on the application, they really just read the steps and they follow the instructions. It walks them completely through. It tells you when to upload documents. It tells them when to, what questions to answer. And then, it mainstreams into, it's a real fast process. The paper applications do take a lot longer to process because they're a little bigger than the online application, so we do have to do a lot more verifying on the paper applications. So I think that's a lot of deterrent, or they feel that it's too much work is what I get a lot of people telling me, but it's just a little bit of time if you can get those documents and get everything in order to get some relief, into your hand and to have some, income that you can save up and, get back on your feet. So I do think, it is a little bit of work, and the U.S. Treasury does want us to verify things, so we do have to be real strict on our guidelines, but we do want to, we're trying to help as many people as we possibly can, and, try to do it as fast as we can so that people are able to stay in their homes and, have water and electricity to live on.
And you make a great point. Sometimes a little inconvenience is worth it, right? If you can spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and all of a sudden you're being caught up on possibly 15 months of rent.
Yes.
We will go as far back as 12 months and forward as 3 months. I mean, just if you're listening to this and you know someone who might be in this situation, imagine what even a month's worth of bills, how much breathing room that gives you. And this program can set you up for a maximum of 15 months.
And then 12 months of utilities.
And 12 months of utilities. So I would think that would be worth a little inconvenience.
Yes.
I'm trying to think, can I qualify? No, no, seriously. I mean, I think people might be of the mindset that, oh, it's the government, so they're making things complicated, right? And so it's important to stress that we are not doing this. We have requirements from the U.S. Treasury. They are expecting us to document that we've been a good steward of these resources. We can't just hand, hey, everybody stand in line, just come get it. We have to show how it's been used, or you might have a bigger complaint with us. You might say, we're not very good with handling money. So we have to take care of that fiscal responsibility on our end. We're not trying to just inconvenience you. We want to get these resources into the hands of the community. You heard Ms. Alicia already talk about, we've already distributed over $2 million, and I know that the county manager wants to double and quadruple that by the time the money the deadline arrives.
Yes.
Hopefully we run out of money before the deadline arrives. That would be an ideal situation.
Yes.
So what you mentioned, a paper application or just even the application online. I know that there are some areas, because we are talking about the entire county, and there are some areas that do not have great access to internet. So what are some options? I want to apply. I want to see if I'm eligible, but I don't have a computer at home, or I don't have great internet. What can I do?
So we do have some outreach out at the community centers. So we do have some at every, in Anthony, in Butterfield, in Hatch. We are working with El Paso Electric. So even at the electric company, you can go apply there. They have some interns at their main office on Water Street that can assist you on filling out your application as well. And I do know that we do have our Health and Human Services Department trying to go and talk to the rural areas and get out there as much as they can and set up appointments with anybody that cannot make it to either the county or to pick up a paper application, or like you say, able to have internet services or connections. We do talk to them about if they don't have it and maybe their landlord does, or maybe vice versa, if they could work with each other to, some tenants do, like, say, bring the landlord over to their house because they don't they're older and they don't understand technology so much, and they help them walk through the application so that they are, to work as a team to get the application finished so that the landlord can get their income and so that the tenant can, pay their bills. So
that's good.
So as long as, we try to get out there and help as much as we can, or set up appointments here with other people on our outreach team that are able to assist them filling out the application.
Okay. And what if the person only speaks Spanish, or Spanish is their first language?
We do have people in the human services that that speak both, and we do have our outreach. Emma Johnson speaks Spanish, and then Susie also speaks Spanish, and do our communications for them there.
Okay. Well, I can't imagine. I mean, I'm thinking this sounds great, right? Is this too good to be true? I mean, what's the catch?
Nothing's the catch. Once we pay and we get you approved, we send out payment, and then in 90 days, if you haven't used all your funds, you are able to resubmit another application to get another 3 months of assistance in that time. So, and utilities, if you have not used it up. So, we do go every 90 days, and we do have, it sends you, the Neighborly software will send you an email reminding you that, hey, it's almost time to reapply. Don't forget to reapply. It'll tell you, it'll be like, today's the day, and it does send you emails to let you know so that you are able to get that assistance that you need if you still need it.
Well, that's very good. So do I have to start all over again when I reapply?
No, if you're just recertifying, the only information that I need from you is a new proof of income. So it can't be the same income that you gave us prior to get assistance. So like the first 90 days income, if you use your tax forms, we would either need your new last two pay stubs. If you're still on unemployment, we just need the new recertification of unemployment. If you have no income at the time, we do have a document on the application that when you select no income, and it's a certification of no income, that you have to get notarized, and then you would upload that document there. But we would need just a different form of income so that we can show that you are still in need of the funds.
Okay, so I hear this. You said there's no catch. Is there anything that you find that is a big, when people show up, they forget that, or they don't do something and it causes a delay? Is there anything?
The lease, the IDs, pretty much every part. There's about 100 missing certain parts. There's 100 missing another part. But the main part is the lease agreement and the COVID financial impact letter. Those are the two that people seem to bypass the most on the application.
Okay, so you guys, make sure you spread the word. You have to bring certain things to receive assistance. Our goal is not to delay you in this process, so please understand, you have to bring ID, and that ID can be in the form of what?
It has to be a government ID, and it has to be valid.
A valid, what if I don't have an ID?
If you're over 18, we would need an ID. That's just a U.S. Treasury guideline.
Okay.
It can be any any government ID from any country.
Okay, so it can be from another country. Can it be a student ID?
No,
No.
no, it has to be
So-
government ID.
So if I'm 18, because you need an ID for anybody over 18, but my 18-year-old son doesn't have an ID. So, and he's a student. So what do I do?
You would have to get them an ID.
I have to go get, okay. I guess that's worth it if you're going to help me with 15 months of payments and 12 months of utilities. So ID, that is a non-negotiable. We have to be able to document who you are. Anybody over 18 in the house, please, if you're coming to apply, we cannot help you without an ID, right? The next thing, a lease. You have to be able to verify that you actually are renting every page of your lease,
Yes,
not
and-
just the first page.
Yes. And everyone that's on the lease would have to be in the household.
Okay. Yes, everyone, that's a key distinction. I'm glad you told me that. So everyone in the household has to be listed on the lease.
If the lease states, like, maybe me and you are living together, but, we're just roommates, even though I might be the one in need and you're fine, I would still need your income. I would still need your,
Oh,
because you are on the lease agreement, so you are
Yes.
part of the household.
gotcha. So the payment, the assistance is for the household.
Yes.
So, okay, I understand that. And hopefully you guys caught that. Even if I'm in the house and I don't need help, but Miss Alicia does need help because we are both listed on the lease, she needs my income information as well for the application. So we're just trying to help cut down on some of the delays up front because people come in and they're not quite prepared for the process. And so you have to be able, the next step is you have to be able to prove that you've been affected by COVID. Are you receiving unemployment? Did you lose your job? Did they cut back your hours? Something documented, but it has to be notarized.
Yes, and financially impacted. So
Okay.
you might have contacted COVID, but if you weren't working, that doesn't qualify you.
Oh.
So you have to be financially impacted. So if you did get COVID and then you were quarantined for 2 weeks and you had to obviously lose 2 weeks of work, then we would need that document from your employer stating the 20th till the 13th, Miss Susie had to quarantine due to a positive case of COVID-19. So it would something like that. It wouldn't just be the test result stating that it was positive, because we have to show why that positive result impacted you financially.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I think there are some people who may hear, oh, the county has assistance available, and just hear COVID and think, oh, it happened, I'm not working, I can qualify. So you had to have been working, and then something changed due to COVID.
Yes.
So you couldn't have been laid off before. What day do we officially count?
March 13th is when they officially count it as
Of
the
2020.
Yes.
So if you were already employed March of 2019, you might not be eligible to come in a year later and say COVID impacted me if you were not already working.
Yes.
Right? So the idea is everything has to be tied to your financial situation changing because of COVID.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the last thing they need to bring, so I named the lease, the ID, the proof that you've been financially impacted due to COVID.
And then the utilities if they're past due, and that's an option. You don't have to provide utilities and then they have to be in the household's name, the utilities. So it can't be in the landlord's name, it can't be in your dad's name that doesn't live in the home. If it is in someone else's name, you can see if you can add yourself to the bill. But we would need a household member's name on the utility bill to be able to pay it. We can't pay it if it's in a different name.
So it can be anybody in the household. If I'm the one coming in to apply, but my 32-year-old aunt who also lives with me, the electric can be in her name if she's on my documentation, right? Okay.
Exactly.
So it
Or
doesn't
listed in the household.
listed in the household.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
very good. Now let's clarify this, the utilities. you don't have to be delinquent, right, to receive assistance?
No, you do have to be
You
delinquent.
have to be delinquent?
In the utilities, because we can only pay what is on the bill, because utilities aren't a set amount like your rent is. So that's why we are unable to pay it forward, because one month your bill might be $100, and then the next month it might be $60, and then it might be $200 the next month. So that's why we are unable to do that, and we have to have the document of the amount we're paying, and it does have to be in arrears.
So you can't pay utilities forward,
No.
but you can pay rent forward because it's the same amount every month,
Yes, it's a
ideally. Okay. But you can pay utilities as far as 12 months back.
Yes. Or 12 months forward, but they would apply every 3 months.
Okay, apply, okay, good to know. Wow. And so there's a lot to learn here. So how did you get connected with the CARES Act to begin with, and just working with this particular program? Because you are required to know the ins and outs, and I'm sure you have people come in with unique situations all the time, and you have to figure out, okay, how does that apply? How did you first become involved with this kind of work?
Well, I started off as a restaurant manager, actually.
Okay.
And then COVID had happened, and so then I was looking for more 8 to 5, because I am a mother, so to be home with my daughter. So I actually just answered a job listing, and then I was very much informed, and I had overloads of emails and information to learn about the qualifications, the different benefits for each program, the CARES Act of how, because at that time we were doing the small businesses at that time, plus the rent and mortgages for the CARES Act. So that it was very different qualifications there. And we actually had someone else vetting the applications, and then we would review the applications to make sure that nothing was missed, and then we would pay them. They had to set the same qualifications, how they were impacted, how they lost money. And then this program kind of was just more of a compressed one for the renters only, but the same qualifications of the impact of, having to show the lease agreement, having different documentations listed. It's been very heart-wrenching and very amazing to see when I am able to help people, and when I am able to get the utilities turned back on, or get them from eviction, or I've had a landlord call me while they're at the doorstep of someone's thing that I gave them an email. I had printed them a form to show that they were approved, so that when the cop showed up, that they wouldn't be evicted. So hearing those things of oh, okay, so we're going to move on, being able to know that that person was able to stay in their home, because we try to help as much as we possibly can, because we hate to see someone go without or be without. So it's very heart-wrenching to hear the stories and hear some things, and especially when we're unable to help, we do try to give as many resources, like New Mexico mortgage does help with like the mortgage people, but they do only pay mortgages, so a lot of people are behind right now on utilities. And at this moment, no one has a program for that. So, it is just kind of hard to hear people's story, and then to be like, well, I'm so sorry, I'm unable to help you at this time. But, it is nice when we get those words, thank you, and, that they're gracious, and, happy that we were able to assist them in their situations that they have been in due to this pandemic.
Well, I just want to thank you for the work you do. I think sometimes when we are having to fulfill the duties of our job, and we're dealing with the customer, especially as county employees or the citizens, the residents of the county, often they don't see that there are humans behind it, that we're impacted, that we feel for them as well. While we do have to follow certain guidelines, their stories, their lives are important to us. So thank you for being committed to helping people. I cannot imagine what that feels like, to know that the resources are there, but someone doesn't fit the qualifications, or, gosh, like that story you just shared.
Yes.
On the steps to be evicted, and we're able to come through in the moment, and that landlord, reverses that. I mean, those are stories that don't always show up in the numbers.
Yes, exactly.
Those human heartstring stories that's what we want to use this podcast to share more like that, the experiences, to put a face to Doña County. We are departments, but we're also here to serve, and we do that a lot. And so I'm just so honored to be able to share that story through this particular medium, through our social media pages, through the outreach efforts that we do, and through the efforts of the Department of Health and Human Services and all the ways you all reach the community. So thank you very much for sharing this information and for being willing to be our guest today. I know some questions have been answered for some people who were listening, and you shared it in a way that it's not so complicated. I think I think being able to connect with people, give them something they can use, and hopefully we'll have a lot more people applying because they do realize it's not as hard as they think, right?
Exactly.
We want to help them
Yes.
get in a better position, get a cushion during such a difficult time for our country. So thank you again for being our guest. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hello Doña County, where our guest is Alicia Morales. She was a wealth of knowledge about the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. If you qualify, if you think you qualify, if you know someone who may qualify, please spread the word. These resources will not be available forever, but we have people all over the county available to assist you. If you are eligible, it is our job to help you complete the process, and so we don't want anyone left out. And I just want to thank you. Again, my name is Anita Skipper. I'm your host of Hello Doña County, and we'll see you on the next episode.